Heartwarming challenge exposed, Black mechanic's incredible journey to winning female CEO's heart. Marcus tightened the bolts on a dilapidated sedan that had seen better days. Outside, the skies were a bleak gray, mirroring the struggle of his neighborhood. But inside the shop, the sounds of whirring tools and falling parts were like music, a rhythm of determination. It was a daily battle, yet with each engine he revived, he felt his father's spirit beside him, cheering him on. The weight of legacy hung heavy, but Marcus held on. He wanted more than just survival, he wanted to thrive. Today was different, though. Today he learned about a charity event teaming local mechanics with entrepreneurs to restore a vintage car for a veteran. Across town, Jenna sat in her sleek office, surrounded by screens displaying her tech empire. The walls whispered with doubt in a world dominated by men. She was a shining star yet overshadowed by whispers of her past. She had clawed her way to the top, blending tenacity with brilliance. But every venture came with judgment, particularly from those who couldn't see beyond her roots. When she learned of the collaboration on the charity event, excitement bubbled within her. Maybe this was her chance to give back, to showcase talent from her community, and to break down more walls. As fate wove their paths closer, Marcus and Jenna met for the first time in the bustling community center. The air buzzed with chatter, laughter, and the distinct smell of fried food. Marcus, tall and sturdy, leaned against a dusty workbench, his hands bearing the grease of hard labor. Jenna, petite yet potent, entered filled with purpose, eyebrows raised at the sight of the vintage car they would be restoring together. When their eyes met, a spark ignited a moment of connection, but doubts lingered. "Can we trust him with this?" Jenna whispered to her partner, glancing back at Marcus, who scrutinized the fading paint on the car with a look of both reverence and longing. Her hesitation pierced Marcus's hopeful heart, making him feel misunderstood in a world that often judged him by the color of his skin, not the caliber of his skills. They began working together, but the task of finding parts proved harder than expected. Wading through forgotten junkyards, rummaging through piles of scrap metal, their teamwork was tested. Yet with every frustrating dead end, they shared snippets of their lives. Marcus spoke of his father's unwavering work ethic. Jenna revealed the sacrifices that got her to this point. The more they exchanged, the deeper the bond grew, their laughter echoing amid the rust and grime. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. One coffee break at a local diner brought them closer. Over mugs of steaming coffee, they shared family histories, their voices rising above the clatter of plates. But beneath the warmth lingered tension. Jenna's princely fears wrapped tight around her heart like chains, and Marcus's longing to honor his father kept him from reaching his full potential. As they fine-tuned the engine, secrets began to unveil. The vintage car held more than just parts, it connected their families in ways they couldn't imagine. Just as they ventured into uncharted territory, a revelation surfaced. The bell above the diner door rang as a man entered, and their world spun anew. Would societal judgment and their pasts dictate their future? Marcus turned to see the man stride into the diner, an air of confidence trailing behind him. The newcomer was dressed sharply, clearly successful, everything Jenna struggled against. As he approached their table, Marcus felt a knot tighten in his stomach. "Hey there, Jenna," the man said with a charming grin, completely oblivious to Marcus. "I didn't expect to find you here." His eyes flicked toward Marcus for just a second before returning to Jenna. "Jack," Jenna replied, her voice steady but with a hint of annoyance. "What a surprise." "In town for meetings," he said, hands casually resting on the table. "Thought I'd grab some food. Mind if I join?" Actually, where Jenna started, but Marcus caught the unease in her voice. It wasn't just that she wanted to refuse, but her jockeying between past and present was palpable. "Sure," Marcus interjected before she could say anything else. The words tumbled out, perhaps driven by a desire to prove himself or to distract from the prying eyes on them. He offered a polite smile, though inside he feared being further judged. As they all settled back into their seats, Jack launched into a tale of his recent business successes, interspersed with subtle digs, as if to remind Jenna of the upward climb she'd made against his backdrop. The tension grew, each word he spoke slammed against Marcus's resolve. The more Jack spoke, the more Marcus wanted to disappear into the corners of the diner. But then Jenna surprised them both. "Actually, we're working on a charity project," she said, her tone firm, putting herself squarely in the spotlight. "Marcus here is helping me restore a vintage car for a veteran." Jack raised an eyebrow, skepticism wafting off him. "A car? Is that what you're doing with your time?" he said, trying to mask his condescension. Each word landed hard. Marcus could feel Jenna tense up beside him. This was their moment to shine, yet it felt twisted by Jack's undermining presence. "What's the problem with that?" Jenna fired back, defiance shining in her eyes. "It's an important cause, and Marcus is one of the best mechanics I know." Marcus's heart raced at her defense. The warmth of admiration washed over him, melting away some of the doubt Jack had cast. Maybe this moment wasn't just about the car but about stepping into their worth. Jack smirked, but it came off more like insecurity than superiority. "I'm sure he is. But are you really sure you want to team up with him?" "What's a mechanic going to know about Jenna?" cut him off. "You shouldn't assume what someone can or can't do. Everyone has talent worth respecting, including Marcus." Her words echoed through the diner. A few nearby patrons looked over, intrigued. Marcus's insides twisted with hope and embarrassment all at once. She was fighting for him, and that meant something. Maybe they could do this, together. After Jack slinked away, Jenna took a long breath. "I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to put you on the spot." "It's okay," Marcus replied, smiling more genuinely now. "It's nice to have someone in my corner." Gradually, as the day turned, they found themselves sharing hopeful ambitions for the car, openly discussing ideas. With each plan they made, they drifted further away from the echoes of judgment and doubt. Then, as they returned to the shop, something shifted. A subtle new focus dawned. This project was already changing them both. But when a flicker of movement caught Marcus's eye, he turned, only to realize Jack was lurking just outside, checking his watch, like a storm on the horizon. What did he want now? An unsettling tension filled the air once again. Would this encounter push them apart, or would it bring them closer together? Marcus felt the weight of Jack's presence like a dark cloud hanging just outside the diner's windows. Jenna's sudden burst of confidence had invigorated him, but that energy dimmed as he saw the smirk on Jack's face, one that suggested he was ready to stir trouble again. "Looks like someone can't take a hint," Jenna said under her breath, glancing at Marcus with a mix of concern and determination. "Let's just ignore him and focus on the car." "Right," Marcus replied, trying to swallow the knot that twisted tighter in his stomach. But his gaze couldn't help but flick back to the entrance. With every second, the tension built like a coiled spring, ready to unleash chaos. "Maybe we should grab a coffee," Jenna suggested, breaking the intensity that clung to them. Her voice was steady, but Marcus could sense the apprehension lurking behind her words. They stood up, ready to shift their focus when suddenly Jack appeared at their table again, this time uninvited. "Don't mind me," he said, leaning against the edge of their booth with a casual arrogance that made Marcus bristle. "I just thought I'd remind Jenna about something important." He glanced at Marcus, his eyes flickering with disdain. "No offense, but mechanics don't typically change the world, do they?" Jenna's jaw tightened. "You don't know Marcus like I do. Do tell. What amazing world-changing plans does your mechanic have?" Jack's voice dripped with mockery. The diner seemed to hold its breath, patrons leaning slightly closer, their curiosity piqued. Marcus felt the heat rising in his chest. This was no longer just about him. "I'm restoring a car for a veteran, Jack. That's something. It matters to people who serve this country." His voice steadied with each word, fueled by the newfound strength Jenna had inspired in him. Jack waved his hand dismissively. "Sure, if that's what you call it. But in the grand scheme, who's going to remember a car restoration? You need connections, power. Success. Success isn't measured by connections," Jenna shot back. "It's about what you do with your abilities." There was a beat of silence, and then Jack relaxed his posture, crossing his arms. His smirk faded a bit, but he pressed on. "You know, it's clouding your vision, Jenna. Hung up with someone who can't elevate your game? Enough." Marcus couldn't hold back. "You're wrong. We have plans, real plans, and this project is about way more than just a car. It's about giving back. It's about pride." Even as he spoke, he wondered if he could believe it. If he could truly make a difference. Jack smirked again, but this time it looked forced. "Well, good luck with that. I'd hate to see you get wasted on someone with ambitions." He turned, but not before Marcus caught a fleeting look of unease flicker across his face. As Jack walked away, Jenna exhaled, a mix of relief and frustration crossing her features. "I'm sorry," she murmured to Marcus. "This shouldn't have become a battlefield." Marcus shook his head. "No. I mean, thank you. For standing up for me. That felt good." Jenna's eyes softened. "It's not just about you. We're in this together. If he wants to throw shade, let him. We'll just shine brighter." For the first time, Marcus felt the spark of possibility igniting in his chest. They could turn this project, this journey, into something bigger than either of them had imagined. Lost in thought, he turned to face the garage door as they approached the shop. But just as Jenna began talking about colors for the car, the door swung open. A figure stepped in, and it was someone neither of them expected. An old friend from Marcus's past, someone who could change everything. Would this person be an ally or another obstacle? The anticipation bubbled within him, caught between hope and fear. As the figure stepped into the garage, Marcus's heart raced. His mind raced faster, flickering through memories of laughter and late nights spent under the stars. "Danielle?" he whispered, barely able to believe his eyes. Danielle, with her wild curls and infectious smile, looked as radiant as ever. She had been a close friend, always challenging him to aim higher, to strive for something beyond the grease and metal that surrounded him. The last time he'd seen her was years ago, and just when he'd begun to bury those memories under layers of work and practicalities, here she was. "Marcus!" she shouted, her voice brightening the dim garage. She rushed toward him, wrapping her arms around him tightly. He felt a rush of warmth. It had been too long. Jenna stood a bit to the side, wide-eyed as she absorbed the scene. "I can't believe it's you," Marcus exclaimed as they pulled apart, his chest swelling with nostalgia. "What are you doing here? Last I heard, you were conquering the East Coast with your startups." Danielle chuckled, the sound light and spirited. "It's all nonsense now. Chasing investors, meetings, you know the drill. But I needed a break, and I thought, why not visit old friends?" Her eyes sparkled, shifting from Marcus to Jenna, curiosity shining through. "Who's this?" "This is Jenna. She's helping me restore a car." He felt a sense of pride as he spoke, hoping Danielle could see the determination he had found recently. "We're doing it for a veteran." "That's amazing." Danielle's enthusiasm was genuine. "I always knew you were meant for something bigger, Marcus. You have that spark." The compliment made him glow, and Jenna beamed at him. But before Marcus could bask in that warmth, the shadow of doubt crept in. What if she thought this was all there was for him? A project dreamt up in a garage? Thanks, but it's not much, he said, brushing aside the compliment with a laugh that felt too light. Just a car and some rusty tools. Danielle shook her head, her expression serious. No. It's not just a car. It's what you're doing it for. That's what matters. You're giving back, Jenna chimed in, and we want to take it further. Maybe even start a community project. Help more veterans and young people. Danielle's eyes widened as if a light had been switched on. I love that. I can help. I have some connections that could bring resources. We could organize workshops, maybe even get some sponsorships. Marcus's heart quickened. The idea of expanding was intoxicating, but a familiar voice of caution lingered in the back of his mind. Could he trust that this was real? You'd really want to get involved? He asked, weighing each word carefully. Absolutely. Danielle's voice was resolute, her hands now animated as she spoke. Turning passion into action is what I thrive on. And besides, I want to see you succeed. You've always had such potential. There was something compelling about her belief, something raw that tugged at Marcus. Yet he remembered Jack's words, the doubts that pricked at his ambitions. Could he embrace this? Embrace her? Jenna caught Marcus's eye, and he felt her steady confidence wash over him. We can do this together, she said softly, a reassurance that formed a bridge between his swirling emotions and the clarity that felt so close yet so far, but just then, the tension in the air shifted. A muffled voice erupted from outside, breaking their moment. A group of rowdy men shuffled past the garage, laughter ringing through the streets, some of them familiar faces from Marcus's past who ironically might not share his enthusiasm for anything that didn't align with their narrow views. Marcus felt a rush of anxiety. He thought of Jack's mockery and the intent behind it. Would this newfound partnership with Danielle and Jenna withstand the echoes of his past? Think we're ready for what's next? He asked, looking between the two women who had suddenly ignited hope in him. But the truth of the impending reality pressed down hard. It wasn't just about cars, they had their sights set on something much bigger. Then, just as he braced himself for the next steps, his phone buzzed in his pocket. The screen lit up with a message that froze him in place. You really shouldn't have stood up to Jack. Now he's got his sights set on you. What did that mean? Marcus's heart dropped. Would this be the challenge that threatened everything they were building? The reality that lay ahead felt both tantalizing and terrifying. Marcus stared at his phone, the screen glowing ominously as the words burned into his mind. Jack's threat loomed larger than the crowd of rowdy men outside. What trouble was he getting into now? Is everything okay? Jenna's voice pulled him back to the present. Her eyes were filled with concern, reflecting a mixture of worry and determination. Yeah, just an old acquaintance. He tucked the phone away, trying to mask the anxiety curling inside him. Danielle's presence felt like a light breaking through his darkness, and the last thing he wanted was to dampen it. Old acquaintance? Danielle stepped forward, her curiosity piqued. Marcus, what's going on? He hesitated, searching her familiar, supportive face for encouragement. I've had some friction with a guy I used to know. We had a falling out, and now he thinks I should just stay in my lane. Sounds like a jerk, Jenna said matter-of-factly. Yeah, well, it's more than that. He likes to throw weight around when he gets a chance, Marcus admitted, feeling the trepidation knot tighter in his chest. If I push back, he might take it personally. Danielle's expression hardened, her voice firm. Then don't let him intimidate you. You're doing something amazing here, Marcus, she said, gesturing around the garage filled with tools and the half-finished car. This is about helping people. It's bigger than him. The weight in Marcus's heart shifted a little at her words, but the doubt still lingered. What if he tries to come after me? Or you guys, too? We're in this together, remember? Jenna said. Trust me, I won't let him scare me away. And neither should you. Right, the reassurance soothed him, but the threat still felt real. Jack's influence could easily reach into their plans, shattering the hopes they were building in this garage. Danielle clapped her hands together, effectively breaking the tension in the air. So, what do we do next? You said you wanted to plan workshops and reach out to veterans, right? We need to focus on that. The more we get involved, the less time we have for Jack. Exactly, Jenna smiled, the uncertainty lifting like a cloud out of the room. Let us brainstorm ideas. We can even do a little social media push to raise awareness. The excitement began to bubble as they dove into planning. Ideas bounced around the room: workshops on basic car repair, motivational talks, inviting veterans to share their stories. Each suggestion fueled Marcus's imagination, painting a bright picture of community and healing. He couldn't help but feel a spark of hope igniting again, but just as they were gaining momentum, Marcus' phone buzzed again, a cruel reminder of their reality. With a hesitant glance, he opened the message. Meet me at the old diner. We need to talk. His breath hitched. How had Jack found him? Danielle noticed the change in his demeanor, her brow furrowing. What does it say? It's Jack. He wants to meet. That doesn't sound good, Jenna said, her voice tense. No, it doesn't. Marcus felt the tension coil around him once again. But I can't avoid him forever. Maybe this could be a chance to clear the air. Or it could be a trap, Danielle countered, unwavering. You have to be careful, Marcus. We're all in this now. We're here for a community, but it starts with protecting ourselves. Nods exchanged, Marcus calculated his next move. This was the moment he'd been afraid of, the confrontation looming ahead, the test of his resolve. Could he balance his dream with this ominous threat? As he stood there, feelings of courage wrestled with fear, and his heartbeat quickened. The pulling of the past was undeniable, but the hope of new beginnings shone brighter. Guess it's time for me to face him, he said, determination creeping in. Just remember, we stand with you, Jenna said, placing a hand on his shoulder. With that, he pocketed his phone, feeling the weight of uncertainty and grit beginning to form. What would Jack say? And how far was Marcus willing to go to protect this spark they had ignited? He took a deep breath, ready to step into the fray. That night would be a defining moment. But as he made his way toward the door, a frightening question echoed in his mind. Could standing up to Jack fracture what they were building, or was it the catalyst to something greater? The answer awaited him at the diner, just steps away. Marcus stepped into the cool evening air, the world around him buzzing with sounds and life, but inside, he felt like he was walking through a fog. The old diner loomed ahead, its neon lights flickering like a warning sign. Each step felt heavy with the weight of decisions that could change everything. He reached the entrance and pushed the door open. A bell jangled overhead, and the familiar smell of burgers and fries hit him, mixing with the sharp scent of varnish from the diner's weathered booths. The place was mostly empty, save for a few clients hunched over their late-night meals. His eyes searched the room until they landed on Jack, sitting alone at the back, a grim smirk spreading across his face. Marcus, he called out, waving a hand in mock enthusiasm. Glad you could make it. Let us get this over with, Marcus replied, taking a seat across from him. His hands clenched under the table, fighting the urge to show just how exposed he felt. Thought you might be scared, Jack said, pairing his comment with a chuckle. But here you are, like a moth to the flame. Why did you want to meet? Marcus asked, trying to inject firmness into his voice. Jack leaned back, arms crossed, eyes glinting with mischief. I heard through the grapevine you're planning something big. Little workshop for veterans, huh? That's cute. Yeah, it is. We're trying to help people, Marcus replied, defensiveness creeping into his tone. Help? Jack sneered. More like trying to get attention. You don't really think you can play in the big leagues, do you? This isn't just a game, Marcus. The heat rose in Marcus' chest. What's your point? Jack leaned forward, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. You think you're safe? I've got connections that can tear down what you're building overnight. You better think twice before stepping on my toes again. Marcus took a breath, feeling the doubt wash over him like a cold wave. This was Jack's world, one he had always dominated, while Marcus had been clawing his way up from the bottom. But he couldn't let that intimidate him. He squared his shoulders. I'm not afraid of you. You don't dictate my life, Marcus said, a flicker of resolve igniting within him. This is about more than just me. It's about giving people hope and a chance to heal. Jack snorted. Hope? You think that's enough? You're messing with the wrong guy, friend. All it takes is one call and all your dreams come crashing down. The room felt thick with tension, every second stretching on like an eternity. Marcus' heart raced. This was it. He was standing up, but the stakes felt impossibly high. What if Jack really could follow through? Is that a threat? Marcus asked, trying to mask the tremor creeping into his voice. Just a friendly warning, Jack said, reclined too comfortably, relishing in the power he felt. You can do your little workshops, but remember, I'm always watching. And if you step too far outside of what you're meant to be, you'll regret it. Marcus felt the walls closing in, but somewhere deep within, he felt the spark of determination. Was this the moment that would define his journey? Could he really stand up to Jack without losing everything he fought for? With Jack's unhinged smile plastered on his face, Marcus realized this confrontation was about to get much bigger than he had anticipated. He wasn't just fighting for his dream anymore, he was fighting for his right to exist in a world where he could make a difference. And suddenly, all those people he wanted to help were flashing through his mind, fueling the fire in his gut. Then let us see where this goes, shall we? He said, defiance rising as he stood to leave. I'm not backing down. As he turned to walk away, Jack's laughter followed him, a sound that echoed with menace. But Marcus was resolute. Whatever it took, he would protect his vision, even if it meant tangling with the past he was trying to escape. As he stepped out into the cool night air, he knew this wasn't over. Jack was right, he couldn't just play things safe anymore. He had to play to win, but what Marcus didn't yet understand was that the real battle was only just beginning. What sacrifices would he have to make to truly protect his dream? And at what cost? The night air stung Marcus' lungs as he walked away from the diner, Jack's laughter echoing in his mind. He didn't dare look back, he didn't want to give Jack the satisfaction of knowing he was rattled. Instead, each step made him feel lighter, like the weight of indecision was shedding itself from his shoulders. He headed to his old car parked nearby, the engine a metallic reflection of his worn-out spirit. As he turned the key in the ignition, the engine sputtered stubbornly before roaring to life. The vibrations of the engine thrummed through him, a reminder that he, too, was alive and capable of fighting back. He hit the radio as he drove, the familiar tunes wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. Songs about fighting for what you believe in, about love and loss, spun through the airwaves. One track caught his attention, lyrics about resilience clawing at their way through hardship. He gripped the steering wheel tighter, a newfound fire igniting in his chest. If ever there was a time to charge forward instead of retreating, it was now. As he pulled into his driveway, he noticed the porch light was still on. It was a small sign of hope, a flicker that someone still believed in him, even when he felt like he was losing ground. It was his mother, waiting up, her faith never wavering despite everything. He owed it to her. He owed it to every person who walked through his workshop doors looking for guidance. He stepped inside the small, inviting home. The familiar scent of baked goods wrapped around him, igniting memories of better times. "Hey, Ma," he called out, his voice a mix of gratitude and fatigue. "Marcus. You're back late," she responded, gliding into the living room, her face lit up with a warm smile. She was everything good in his life. I saved you a slice of apple pie. I know how much you love it. Thanks, I could use it. He sank into the couch, exhaustion creeping into his bones, but it was a good kind of tiredness. The kind that meant he had faced something difficult. Head-on.as They chatted about their day. He could feel his mother's concern about the new workshop, her worry woven into every question. Are you sure you're ready for this? She finally asked, her voice soft, tinged with maternal love. More than ever, Ma, he replied, the conviction in him solidifying. It's time I stand my ground. Jack thinks he can scare me away, but it won't work. Her expression shifted, a mix of pride and worry on her face. Just remember, Marcus, it's not worth losing yourself in the fight. You have people who love you. Don't let anyone take that away. Her words wrapped around him in a soothing embrace, grounding him. He wanted to protect his vision, but he needed to balance that with staying true to himself and to the people who cared for him. After their talk, Marcus lay in bed, the moonlight filtering through the curtains, illuminating the clutter in his room. Photographs of friends he lost, memories of evenings spent fixing cars with laughter hanging in the air. They weighed on him but also served as a reminder of why he was doing all this. The night stretched on, and he felt a resolve building within. If Jack was going to come after him, he wouldn't be caught off guard. He reached for his phone and texted a few friends who shared his vision, his dreams. We need to meet. Tomorrow. Big plan in motion. As the word sent, urgency coursed through him like an electric current. Tomorrow would bring the next challenge. He could almost see it, their workshop alive with hope, laughter, and change. But he knew Jack wouldn't just fade into the night. Their struggle was not just about a workshop, it was about belief and integrity. As he drifted off to sleep, questions danced in his mind. What if Jack had allies? What if Marcus couldn't protect his dream as he hoped? This was only the beginning of the battle. But one thought lingered, he would not face this alone. And as dawn approached, a quiet sense of determination took root within him. What was he willing to risk for this dream? With the horizon brightening outside his window, a new day awaited. Would he find the strength to push against the tide and emerge unscathed, or would Jack's grip prove too strong? Marcus woke to the soft glow of morning light spreading across his room, chasing away the remnants of night. The sun filtered through the dusty curtains, bathing everything in a golden hue. The promise of a new day hung in the air, charged with possibility. As he got up, he felt a jitter of nervous energy coursing through him. Today was not just another Tuesday, it was the day for action, the day his friends would arrive, and they'd lay the groundwork for the workshop that had seemed like a distant dream just months ago. He quickly showered, splashing cold water on his face, bringing himself fully into the moment. In the kitchen, the smell of bacon sizzling in the pan made his stomach growl. His mother stood at the stove, flipping pieces with the grace only she possessed. You look ready to take on the world, she remarked, glancing up with a teasing smile. I feel ready, Ma. Today's the day, he said, grabbing a plate and loading it with bacon and toast. Just remember, it's okay to lean on others. You don't have to carry everything alone, she advised, her voice soft yet firm. People believe in you. He nodded, but the questions lingering from last night still hung in his mind. Jack had every reason to fight, and what if he brought others into it? That fear was like a shadow, creeping in at the edges. As much as Marcus wanted to focus on the positive, uncertainty loomed large. After finishing breakfast, he grabbed his phone, scanning the messages from his friends. They were all in Ryan, Alicia, and even Jesse, whose skills with tools rivaled his own. They all had dreams, just like him, and coming together felt like the universe aligning, even amidst the tension. Okay, he muttered to himself as he checked the time. Let us do this. With determination, he headed to the workshop space he had envisioned. It was an old building, beaten and bruised but sturdy, brimming with untapped potential. The moment he stepped inside, a sense of belonging settled over him. Dust particles danced in the sunbeams that filtered through the windows, making everything feel alive and welcoming. As he waited, a mix of excitement and anxiety bubbled beneath his skin. What would they bring to the table? Would they all be on the same page? Soon, the sound of footsteps approached, and one by one, his friends entered. They greeted him with smiles and a sense of camaraderie that eased his nerves. Ryan was the first to speak, his hands on his hips. "All right, boss. Let us see what kind of magic we can make here." As they gathered around, they threw ideas back and forth, brainstorming ways to transform the space. Laughter and enthusiasm filled the room. For a moment, all of Marcus's worries began to dissipate, replaced by a collective hope they all shared, but then, just as they began to solidify their plans, the sound of a revving engine cut through their laughter. Everyone turned, eyes narrowing as the doors swung open. Jack sauntered in, flanked by a couple of guys Marcus recognized from the neighborhood, all wearing smug grins that immediately sent a chill down Marcus's spine. "Looks like the party started without me," Jack declared, leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed over his chest. Marcus's heart raced. The tension in the room thickened, slicing through the moment of unity like a knife. "What do you want, Jack?" Marcus asked, trying to steady his voice. "Just came to remind you what happens when you go against the tide. You really think you can pull this off?" Jack shot back, his tone dripping with disdain. Marcus clenched his fists, battling the urge to step forward. But he also sensed the support around him. The team they had formed was stronger than he anticipated. "Yeah, we're doing this," Marcus replied, steeling himself. "And there's nothing you can say to change that." Jack's expression twisted into something sinister, and Marcus knew this was far from over. A storm was brewing, a battle for not just their space but for the hearts and aspirations tied to it. With renewed clarity, he turned back to his friends. "We'll protect our dream. Together." As Jack backed away, eyes glinting with mischief, Marcus felt an unexpected wave of determination wash over him. He had allies, and together they could stand their ground, but he couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. What would Jack throw at them next? The fight was far from finished, and the stakes were about to rise. What was their next move, and how far was Marcus willing to go? The atmosphere in the workshop shifted from enthusiasm to uncertainty, the laughter that had filled the air now drowned out by the weight of Jack's presence. Marcus felt a mixture of anger and fear but pushed it aside. He looked to his friends, their faces a reflection of determination, and realized they were in this fight together. "Let us get back to work," he urged, sensing the heaviness lingering in the air. "We can't let him ruin this for us." Ryan nodded, cracking a smile. "Right. We're stronger than he thinks. Let us show him what we're made of." The group gathered once more, their energy rekindled. Alicia pulled out her sketches, vibrant drawings of what the space could become, a workshop where creativity and community coalesced, a place where dreams didn't just exist, but thrived. "I can already picture it," Jesse enthused, his eyes lighting up. "We'll need a fresh coat of paint, some new tools. If we all pitch in, this can be something amazing." Looking at their eager faces, Marcus felt a surge of hope. This was more than just a workshop, it was a manifestation of their aspirations. But as they began to outline the work ahead, the sound of that revving engine cut through their determination again. Marcus fought to focus, but the impending dread returned. He had a horrible feeling that Jack wasn't done with them just yet. "I'll start bringing in supplies," Ryan offered, clapping Marcus on the shoulder. "We'll divide everything up. We got this." "Yeah, together," Marcus agreed, his voice carrying the confidence he wished he felt. The group split, each person optimistic about their tasks, but Marcus's thoughts remained clouded by Jack's visit. Minutes turned into hours, and as the daylight began to fade, the workshop transformed under their hands. Dusty surfaces became cleaner, the walls began bleeding colors from the paint pots. It felt good, but every loud noise made Marcus jump, scanning the door for signs of trouble. Then, just as they set the last chair into place, there was a knock. Marcus's heart raced. "Who is it?" he called, backing away from the door, anxiety creeping back in. "Delivery for the party?" a voice joked from the other side. It was Maya, the local supplier he had contacted for tools. Relief washed over him as he opened the door. "Just in time," he exclaimed, feeling grateful for the distraction. She walked in, her arms loaded with boxes and a bright smile that softened the edges of his worries. "What are you all up to?" she grinned, glancing around at the colorful chaos. "Looks like a party of creativity in here." Alicia motioned her over. "We're making our dream a reality. You should stay and see." Maya set the boxes down, sparking curiosity with each this and that she unwrapped. As they chatted, Marcus felt the weight of the day slowly lift. Having her there was like a soothing balm. For the first time that day, he could breathe. But of course, just as they started to laugh, the front door burst open again. Jack reappeared, flanked by the same guys from earlier. The disturbance brought tension rushing back into the room, cascading their earlier joy into uncertainty. "What's this? A welcome committee?" Jack mockingly called out. Marcus's heart sank as he looked at his friends, the anxiety creeping back into their eyes. "What do you want now?" he shot back, frustration boiling beneath his calm exterior. "Just came to see how it's going." "Heard you're playing house," Jack sneered, glancing around as if assessing their progress. The smug grin crept back into his expression, far too triumphant for Marcus's taste. Maya's presence began to feel fragile, like a whisper of hope in an impending storm. He could see his friend stiffen at Jack's words, the determination from earlier dimming under the weight of their rival's presence. Marcus had once again come face to face with the reality of their challenge. Was it enough to stand together against Jack's intimidation? He felt the tide rising within him, an urge to protect what they had built. "You don't scare us. We're not backing down," Marcus declared, standing tall against Jack's taunts. Jack narrowed his eyes, clearly hunting for weakness beneath Marcus's bravado. "We'll see how long that lasts," he said before turning on his heel, leaving the workshop layered in tension. The air crackled with unresolved conflict. Marcus's heart pounded, but at least his friends stood beside him, united in their shared determination. They had a dream worth fighting for. And what was Jack's next move? With every moment they spent preparing, the pressure built. Marcus knew they had to strategize and brace themselves. They needed to be ready for anything. What would Jack throw at them next? Would they stand together, or would the storm tear them apart? The sun broke over the horizon, casting a golden light into the workshop as Marcus gathered his friends together for what would be a pivotal day. The air crackled with anticipation. Today was the day they would unveil their upcoming workshop to the community, a space they had lovingly transformed with colors and laughter. He looked around as they assembled. Ryan was running final checks on supplies, Alicia was arranging flyers, and Jesse was setting up the sound system. Excitement radiated from them, but Marcus felt the weight of Jack's last visit pressing like a stone in his gut. He had to shake it off. "All right, team," Marcus shouted, clapping his hands. "Today's about hope and new beginnings. Let us show the world what we're made of." The energy surged as everyone gathered close, high-fiving and pumping fists. "Let us make this day unforgettable." Jenna chimed in, her eyes alight with determination. Together, they stood united, ready to meet whatever challenges would come. But deep down, Marcus couldn't shake the shadow of uncertainty. What would Jack do next? As they set up for the event, a crowd started to gather outside, intrigued by the flurry of activity and vibrant flyers they had posted around the neighborhood. The community was curious, and Marcus felt a ripple of excitement. This was at the moment they would reclaim their power. The opening speech fell into place, and Jenna stepped up first. She spoke passionately about the importance of community and giving back. Her words poured out like sunshine, drawing smiles and nods from the audience. Marcus felt his courage swell. He grabbed the microphone next, adrenaline coursing through him. This isn't just a workshop. It's a piece of all of us, a testament to what we can achieve when we support one another. Cheers erupted from the crowd, their faces filled with hope and admiration. In that moment, Marcus felt the energy shift. Their mission resonated beyond the garage, it became a movement, a declaration of unity against hidden biases and prejudices. But as the first vehicle pulled into the lot for repairs, Marcus noticed a familiar face staring from the edge of the crowd. Jack. His arms crossed, a smirk plastered on his face, as if waiting for them to fail. The dread returned, but it also ignited a deeper defiance within Marcus. He had fought too hard for this moment to let fear overshadow it. Now that he finished his speech, filled with an electrifying resolve. Let us work on some cars. Who's ready to hit the ground running? The crowd cheered in response, ready to dive into the project. As they got to work, laughter mingled with the sounds of tools clanking and engines revving. The day flew by. Stories were shared, laughter echoed, and a sense of family grew stronger with every repaired car. Time and again, Marcus saw the smiles of veterans who were grateful for the restoration not just of their vehicles, but of their spirits. Then, as dusk began to fall and they wrapped up the day of labor and love, Jack stepped forward, a dark cloud looming over their celebration. Cute little setup you've got here. But let us see how long it really lasts, he sneered, attempting to poke holes in their joy. In that moment, Marcus took a deep breath. The voices of his friends and community behind him drowned out Jack's taunts. Jack, Marcus spoke firmly, catching the attention of the crowd. You don't get to dictate what this means to us. We're here to empower, uplift, and support one another. Your threats don't scare us. We're stronger than your judgment. A wave of support rippled through the crowd. People clapped and cheered, rallying around Marcus and his friends, an unbroken front against Jack's negativity. Jack, caught by surprise, faltered for the first time, eyes darting between the fired-up crowd and Marcus's unwavering stance. We won't let you take this away from us, Marcus continued. We stand for community, and nothing will tear that down. A striking silence fell over the crowd, the message resonating deeply. Jack realized then that intimidation and judgment had no power over love and unity. With a final glare, Jack turned and walked away. The sense of victory washed over the group like a comforting tide, sweeping away the remnants of fear. As night settled in, laughter filled the workshop once again, the promise of what lay ahead shining brighter than ever. They had arrived at a turning point, a new beginning forged amidst challenges. In that moment, Marcus looked at his friends and knew they were ready to face whatever came next. Together, they had created something beautiful, a sanctuary for hope and growth that would withstand every storm. With arms linked, they celebrated the night under the stars, knowing they had each other's backs. The mechanics of resilience had transformed them, and in that workshop, a legacy was born, a legacy not just of cars, but of unwavering support for one another. As the future stretched ahead, Marcus felt a warmth in his heart. They were living proof that dreams could turn into reality when fueled by courage and love. As they tore into pizza and shared stories long into the night, one thought lingered: they had just begun. And as for Jack, he wouldn't stop them. They were unstoppable. Now is your moment. Don't wait another second. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on more exclusive stories that will inspire you to reach for your dreams. Leave a like now to boost the algorithm and let us know you support the journey. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this epic transformation. Your voice matters. And share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful message of perseverance and community. True fans know the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. This is the moment to show your support.